Hey guys, this is a quick screencast to show you how to create a graph using the data that you've been gathering. So I'm going to go to my Google Documents, Create New, and I'm going to choose Create New Spreadsheet. Spreadsheet in Google Documents is very similar to Excel, and the same things I'm doing in Spreadsheet and Google I could do in Excel. I actually think that Excel has more options, so I'll show you Google first, and then I'll show you the same information in Excel. You're going to start out by looking at your data and figuring out how you want to present it. The data that I looked at has to do with Cornell Notes for the 6 days that I check them in language arts. So I looked at the turn-in rate for each class, and my classes were 1-2B, 1-2A, 5-6A, and 7-8A. So you can see me right now typing in the days that I checked it and the chapters that I checked for. I'm sorry, my computer's a little slow. Then what I did is I looked at how many students did not submit their Cornell Notes that day. So I'm going to write incomplete. And then how many students did turn it in, so complete. And the total number of students I have between my 4 classes is 87. So on the first day there were 8 kids who didn't do their Cornell Notes. On the second day there were 9. On the third day there were 10. On the fourth day there was 10. On the fifth day there was 13. And then I missed a couple days, and on that last day there were 20 kids who didn't have their Cornell Notes done. So if I take 87 and I subtract these numbers, we have 79, 78 kids turning it in, 77, 77, 74, and 67. Okay, if I wanted to take and make a graph just out of that to show kind of the trend of where it was, I would select these boxes. I would start here and pull my, it's not going to let me do that. Undo. Oh, we'll try something else then. Up here in the right-hand corner, you'll see the Insert Chart. So I'll click on Insert Chart. And it'll let me choose what type of chart I want. I think I want to do a bar graph like this that shows the number complete, which is the red column, versus the incomplete, which you can see for the most part. Kids did really well. You can kind of see the trend that as we went further on, more and more kids forgot to do it. I can choose where the data goes. If I needed to do certain columns, everything is fine. And so if that's how I want it to look, I could probably click Insert. You have other options. I could do a pie graph. Choose a type of pie like this. Oh, the type of data I have doesn't match a pie, so I guess I can't do that. I bet it works with a trend graph, however. Let's try this type of trend graph. It doesn't work. Well, you can play around with the charts. You can customize. I think you can play around with the colors a little bit. I'm not quite sure. Yep. Okay. It's pretty simple. Oh, I gave the wrong type of chart. Chart. Oh, sorry. Okay, so this is good for you to see. I'm going to click on my chart if I did something wrong like I just did. When I click on the chart, there should be right there, Chart 1, Edit Chart. I'm going to go back to my bar graph. I need to select my range. I think that might be the problem here. A1 to C7 is how far I'm going. C7. Let's see if that makes a difference. There we go. I don't like those colors, so I'm going to go to Customize, change my background back to blue, Update. There's my chart. Now I have the chart, and now I can copy and insert it into my presentation tool, whatever I did. Let's go to Excel and take a look at that really quickly. I'm going to go to my Start menu, go to Microsoft Office Excel. Excel is very similar to Google Documents. The difference is that you'll have a lot more options in Excel in terms of what your final graph looks like, colors. I think it looks a little bit nicer and cleaner. And I know that students last year found that it was easier to work with Excel than it was to work with Google Docs. So I'm going to do the same thing. Incomplete, complete, the days, I'm going to do CN 1 through 5, CN 6 through 8, CN 9 through 12. If you're wondering what CN stands for, it is Cornell Notes. Okay, and then my numbers were 8, 9, 10, 10, 13, 20. Over here my numbers were 79, 78, 77, 77, 74, 67. Okay, highlight that area and I can go to either the bar graph right here, Chart Wizard. Lets me choose different types of charts. You know, you can do the side-by-side bar, you can do 3D bars, you can do half and half bars. You can change your data range here, rows, columns. That looks kind of weird way to look at data. I like to see the side-by-side there. So you can play around a lot more with the way that it looks in Excel, which is pretty cool. When you're done, you can insert your graph and then you can copy it and paste it. There's a lot of different ways to look at data. Right now we're looking at the data of how many turned it in and how many didn't. I could also just do percentage. On the first day I had, if I did, let's do another chart here. I'll just do a new sheet at the bottom here. And I could do percentage complete. We'll just do complete and incomplete. And then I'm just going to do day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and day 6. You know what, I'm not even going to do the incomplete. I'm just going to do percentage complete. So day 1, 91% did it. What happens if I put a percentage sign in there? Okay, the next day it was 90%. And then it went down to 88% for 2 days in a row. And then 85%. And finally 77%. That's almost a quarter of the kids didn't turn it in at the end. Now let's look at that as a chart. I wonder if I could do that as a pie. The problem with this is that it's really hard to tell which wedge is the biggest and the smallest because there isn't a lot of difference between the 91% and the 77%. I don't really like that. So I'm going to look back at my options again, see if there's something better to do. Well, there you can see how much it drops off at the end. That might be kind of an interesting way to show it. The point is, have fun, play around with Excel and Google Documents today, play around with your data. As you continue between now and next class, you really need to get the most of your data collected by next class. So take some time to plan that. If you need to even take some time during class today to go collect data, I can write you a pass. That's certainly something that is easy to do. Have fun and good luck.